America, and welcome to Invent America, because America invents.
This episode of Invent America TV is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network and has been bringing to you the best of America's home-based product innovation since 1998. This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Yahee! Welcome back. This is the Invent America show right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. I want to welcome all of you that's tuning in and coming in from HomeTalkUSA.com. I'm often wondering sometimes, I'm asked, is that what's this about Home Talk and Invent America, Made in America? And we're going to explain that. It's Home Talk USA is the show. It's just that instead of having all the topics all over the place, we specifically put a different topic at a particular time. And we're going to explain that right now. She is the co-host of the Invent America show, along with the Cajun contractor Michael King. This is Invent America. Miss Rita, welcome, my darling.
Hello there. So, yeah, you know, when we met 20 years ago, and I was working with inventors and you were doing the DIY, things fit so naturally together. We were very lucky.
Yeah.
And because, you know, your guys had all been inventors at one time, some point in their family history, they invented a product they took to market. My guys are just getting started, so they were going to be the next, 2 or 3 generations of product. And then we added the Made in America. And I love being able to go out and find these amazing stories of these people out here who for generations, handed down to sons and grandsons. I know we've got Packwell Manufacturing is going to be on in January. Her grandfather invented the one of the packaging elements, the blister pack. All right. And now she's taken over the country and they make their packaging for all kinds of American-made products. And so it's wonderful to tell the stories. Campbell Scientific is going to be on with me in a couple of weeks. And they manufacture here and sell all over the world data loggers. You know, most people don't even know what data loggers are, but they're really cool,
Yeah. And as I wanted to mention, when, people tune into Home Talk, we're going to be going into our 30th year. And Home Talk is anything that has to do with home improvements, home improvement technology. And we expanded the show over the years. And we used to, have, as I said, the topics all over the place. We'd talk invent products, new products, products that were made in the United States. But, it was just all over. And I thought it'd be great to specifically target a particular industry. And that's what we decided to do is, Home Talk is an established show with established technology. It's not a pay-to-play network. It's not a broken network. You're never, ever going to write a check to come on the show. That's not how it works here. But we just go out through the trade shows. We go out and find the technologies of the future, the established technologies of the future. Now, when we get a company that maybe is not established yet and just maybe starting to go to market, then we put them in Invent America or the Made in America if it's made in the United States. Or if we run across a company like you, sitting at the trade show with your inner circle of 25, 30 companies that are just starting out, plus the 2 or 3 or 4,000 companies that are in there that we can't even get to, but it's good to scout them at the trade show to find out which ones that we can help before they make that serious financial mistake. Right, Rita?
Absolutely. And that's, as a licensing agent where I help somebody find a deal, we're always looking at being able to help them save the money because, when somebody says I spent 50 grand on my patent, it's like, find a different attorney.
Yeah.
All right. It should have been 10. And so, but once they've already spent now the 50 grand, they don't want to, now what do you do now?
Yeah.
Well, you still got to get a prototype done. Nobody licenses an idea. I'm really sorry. It doesn't matter. Ideas are like belly buttons, and it doesn't matter how cute yours is. I cannot sell it.
Yeah,
And,
that's right.
I
But
get
it
inventors that's like, I have a good idea. I want to sell it. Nope, nope, sorry.
yeah, it's a progress. It's a path. It's a blueprint um, from start to finish.
Yeah.
And man, it's just a long haul here. It's not a great get rich quick scheme. It's not, people promising you the world. This is going to be the next best thing since, apple pie and it's just a shovel or something. But at the end of the day, there is a proven system that's in place. And it's only through the experience that we have experienced in the past 30 years that we saw the tragedies, the mistakes, um, the egos, the attitude. Man, if you have an ego and an attitude about your product, just don't even go down that road because you doomed for failure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you see it. You try to help them and try to guide them, but it's like, well, I invented and I know better. Well, why do you think, I invented and I know better? I'm in love with it. Yeah, well, love with that the bankruptcy court because believe me, somebody's going to, even if you're successful, somebody's going to try to steal it. And we talked about that on the show. How patents are stolen.
Yep.
How patents, we talked to people that had this tragedy from the patent office, the corruptive patent office that used to be, in corruption with certain companies. I mean, it was just amazing when we exposed all this a couple of years ago. You remember?
Oh, I remember. I mean, I had an inventor that I was kind of talking off the cliff over the weekend because he was so angry that they were demanding certain things be done. And it's like, it's the patent office. They get to tell you how to do it, and you really don't get to say no unless you want to abandon the patent. Otherwise, they get to make the rules. And, that's why we've used Malcolm for years because he used to be an examiner. And he goes, they used to train me to say, no, you can't have this patent. So here's how you fight back. And, it's been interesting. It's been challenging. But when we see something get out there and get licensed, it's very satisfying too.
Well, we had a lady on a couple of years ago. When she got up to $5 million in sales, they snatched it from her.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yep, I do.
They wait in a big company, and she's still fighting this, and she's just a little. She has a proven track record, and they revolted her patent.
Yeah.
I mean, how can they do that?
I know, right? And it's like, and then, we've got Josh Malone, who is fighting that fight at the U.S., Invents. And, they get out on Capitol Hill. I've been to the Capitol with him to petition and everything. But he had licensed his intellectual property to a toy company. And when he was infringed and ended up at PTAB and they wanted to cancel his patents, the toy company is the one that sued him. And so the toy company is the one that fought the fight for him. And we've had Danko licensed a product that we had years ago. And the woman got royalties for like 15 years. But when Walmart knocked it off, Danko's the one that went to fight it. She couldn't have done that.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Well, we only have about a minute left. We're going to have to take a short break. And but Rita, I'm excited. I want all our guests to stay tuned to all our guests that we have right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. We are streaming live on the World Wide Web at hometalkusa.com. Again, if you want to know anything about this show, Home Talk USA, the Invent America show, Made in America, just go to hometalkusa.com, click there at the links, and you can listen to our archives. You can listen to some podcasts, and Rita's going to talk about now the video that you can watch now. She's going to give the site where you can, and she's excited about that, where you can actually watch the companies that's talking about this. So we're going to come back with our first topic right here on the Invent America show, because as Rita Crompton, the Inventor Lady, says, because America invents. Right here. Y'all come back now, you hear?
This segment of Invent America TV is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
All right, welcome back to the Invent America Show right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. If you're just joining us, we want to put a big shout out to that one of our real old radio stations that's been down in the heart of Cajun country, that big station, 1520 AM in Lafayette, Louisiana, News Talk 98.5 FM, KFXZ. We always like to mention our affiliates, and we always like to point to one of them each week.
And my first guest is Russell Kramer. Russell has been working with me, oh, goodness gracious, Russell, for about 10 years now or so. You've got multiple patents, multiple products, but the one I want to talk about today is TruView, because you've actually got inventory on that. And TruView is, well, actually, you've got multiple Lifesaver products out there as well. But Russell, thanks for being with us today. Tell our listeners, what is TruView?
TruView is an accurate imaging aftermarket stick-on blind spot mirror. And well, it's for cars and trucks.
It's for cars and trucks, but a little bit more of the explanation on that is like when somebody's pulling up, you can look out your rear view mirror, all right, and you see them coming up behind you, all right, and then they kind of disappear. And then it's like, oh my God, they're right beside you. And your knee-jerk reaction, all right, which you're doing with the steering wheel, is to jerk. And when you jerk, you are putting everyone's life in danger. TruView allows that as soon as it's going out of your blind spot, it is pulling into the TruView spot. You see exactly where it's at. You see exactly the size of the vehicle, and it is absolutely a lifesaver.
That's so true, Rita. And it's true that it is accurate. And there's a lot of solutions out there, and this complements a lot of the solutions. But many of those solutions don't produce an accurate image. As you say, they make it seem like it's smaller, that it's further away, and that it's approaching at a speed that's not realistic. And so it helps in all three.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. It's like, you get used to the fact that something is, closer than it looks in the mirror, and then you put the TruView on, it's like, well, there it is. It's a wonderful product. So you have spent a good amount of time trying to get TruView, into the marketplace. All right. Share with our listeners some of, the hard lessons you learned, and then how did you get there?
Well, hard lessons would be just learning how to turn off my inventor shoes a moment and put on my marketing shoes and not ignore it or not give it enough priority. And then the other thing is I was barking up the wrong tree. Oh, here's a company that makes these blind spot mirrors that, distort the images. Why wouldn't they want to have one that works way better? And it just didn't dawn on me that they are just vested in selling what they already have. And so I had to really say to myself, look, I have to turn it up a notch and be able to get this out there. And I can't count on the existing, companies to do it. And so I've had to learn how to find the right people. And I used AI recently and was lucky to find Cargo Catch that you know about. And I did searches. I was actually looking for licensing, and it turned out that Cargo Catch, according to the description, helped other inventors license their inventions as well. So I ended up getting a seasoned distributor that's been marketing his own invention for over 2 decades. And so he took on TruView. It is now in his catalog, and you can go online to cargocatch.com and to trucks and then safety, and you will see TruView is up and running and ready to roll. Well,
congratulations on that, because it has been, time and persistence. And you're right, there are a lot of inventors that, they'll see a problem and solve the problem, and then it sits on their desk forever. I've got a gentleman down in Florida who is infamous for solving problems, and then there they sit in their prototype form. And so, you've got to be focused. Life gets in the way. You've had a couple of different jobs in all of this that you've worked on, but you always get back on track. And I think that's the big thing for inventors is like, life gets in the way for everyone, and you just keep taking those steps.
Yeah, and there's other steps too. I mean, now that I'm working with Bill over Cargo Catch, he recommended a lifetime membership for worldwide brands that helps, connect product and manufacturers and inventors with the proper distribution, the appropriate distributors. So I got a member there. He's recommending doing a social media push, meaning in my case, I'm using Facebook and LinkedIn. And he particularly recommended boosting the posts. There's possibilities of advertising, but to really, he says, my goal is to get rid of my inventory. I got the shipment from China, but hustle that inventory is what he said to do right now.
Yep, that really is what you do, is that you sell the inventory to prove that you can take somebody's money, all right, that they're willing to pay you for the product. It was like that guy I was telling the story earlier on where we actually listed you on Amazon and thinking that nobody would buy it, and somebody bought it. And it gave us a great, review as far as this is a cool product and it will save lives. And so getting some of those testimonials, proving that you can sell it, those are big deals.
All right, Rita, we got to take a break. So, hey, get some information here. What's going on?
All right. Give us where we can buy it. Quick, Russell.
You can buy it at cargocatch.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will be right back with another inventor. So stick with us while we go pay some bills.
Thanks, Rita.
If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. I want to thank the sponsor of this segment. All right, it is Green Products. Protect your wood from future damage with the copper green wood preservative, greenproductsco.net. And one of the great things about the do-it-yourself hour from Home Talk USA is you learn all these cool things and how to protect your home and your areas. So thanks so much for being with us. Our inventor for this segment is Dave Fiegel. He is the inventor of Seal It Right, Seal It Tight. All right, that's not exactly right, Dave. All right, Clean Can Solutions, Seal It. All right. Dave, tell everybody, what do you got?
That's it. Well, what we have is a item that sits on top of a gallon paint can or quart that eliminates the mess and the waste of paint and the cost of throwing a lot of paint away because it's contaminated. It's a ring that fits into a can, standard gallon can of paint, and when you're working out of it or using the paint in a roller can, you just put the lid on it and it forms a vacuum inside, and it prevents the paint from drying out or getting contaminated. So when you go to refill your roller pan or whatever it is, you just take the cover off, pour out of it, and when you're all done with the thing, you can pull the ring out of the can, put the original seal back on, and it's brand new. You don't get any destroyed lids or contaminated paint. It'll save you a ton of money, and it's a lot easier to use. That's what we have.
Well, it's like, duh. This is one of those things where it's like, I cannot believe it took this long for somebody to come up with a simple, easy, solution that when you think about the technology of what it does is sealing, the air out of it, which contaminates the paint. When we moved into this house, she had probably a dozen cans of paint and they were all yucky. And so when we went and started buying different paint and we would buy a sealant, now we can go back and use it another year and it's in great shape. So, Dave, it's not like you just had a dream one night that you were going to do this. How did you come up with it?
I was inspired by my wife. She
Our
said,
postman? Yeah.
she says you're going to repaint part of the kitchen. And when I located the old paint from the people we bought the home from, I destroyed the can trying to open it up. So it ended up a mess. And I got to thinking, this is crazy. How long do you put up with this and why? So that's where the idea started. And it's been a long haul since then between prototypes and market testing and manufacturer location and all the rest of it. Uh, a lot of encouragement from you. And then we were at the trade show in Vegas where they were impressed with it too. And we won the Retailer Award of the Year there for our division. And the response and the reception has been wonderful in all of our testing. But the big stumbling block is most everybody knows is the marketing. You can build a better mousetrap, but they're not going to be the path to your door. You got to get out there and talk to people who have the mice.
Well, there was a movie done once that it was like, if you build it, they will come. No, that is not the real life thing. You can build it and nobody knows you're there. So how have you managed, or how are you managing to deal with this?
That's a good question because started out with the marketing research we did a lot of it through Ace Hardware stores. And the response from the customers and the owners of those stores was great. But getting it through the Ace Hardware system is a different story. It's quite a project. And I found the same with any of the big box stores. The people that run some of the departments, they love the item, but the procedure getting through is difficult. And to know the steps to take and to be persistent to get is the toughest. And the learning process, one of the things that we've gone to using is Amazon. And we've just gotten that up to where it's not completely running right yet now, but we've got a couple of products in there. And so it's available there. We have it available in packages of 3, or for retailers, display box of packages of 25.
Excellent. Well, it's like, a lot of inventors where you've got one product, they don't realize that those big box stores, the Walmarts, Targets, Home Depots, they're like consignment shops. And you can actually sell 50,000 units and get an invoice from them instead of a royalty check or a sales check, because the barcode was a quarter of an inch off space, or the pallet was too heavy when it arrived. They know the game. So when you have a licensee, now they know how to do it. They know what the game is, and they're able to represent you so that instead of getting an invoice, you actually get a check you could make a deposit.
Yeah, that would be nice. Everybody has an idea and they believe in it, and the responses that you get the encouragement. But that's not enough, like you've said before, to have somebody take an idea and treat it the way that you treat it and have the motivation to go out and push it and develop it. It's not there. If it's going to be done, you're going to do it.
Exactly. And 20 some years ago, all right, before as I was going through and learning some of this stuff, I worked for a company that sold a brand new embalming product. And it was cool. It really was. And I went to one of the big trade shows for the funeral home industry. And the guy said, cool product, but nobody here is going to believe you have staying power until you've been here 4 years in a row. Now, they eventually ended up selling the product out to a big supplier of products because it was a really cool product. But, it was interesting that, and that still holds true, is that, until you show that you've got some staying power with your product, people are like, they're very doubtful. And the last thing they want to do is put something in a store on shelf space, and they don't know if you're going to be around in 6 months or 12 months. So that time frame of you got to show that you've got some staying power. And that is why those, being at those trade shows, that's where they start counting. That's where the clock starts running. And speaking of that, our clock is running, everybody. So Dave, tell everyone, where can someone find you?
Well, the Clean Can Solutions at AOL.com is our website. We've got a couple of videos, shows how it works and how to obtain it. We've got Amazon.com is going to, well, they have had it listed and there's been some changes. So it's going to be relisted again here within the next week, I would say. So they can find us there.
All right.
And
Well, if you're out there and you want to get your hands on one of these, we will have Dave's website listed for you so that you'll be able to find it quick and easy. And we are going to go and pay some bills. But if you are out there with a product and you would like to be on the radio, go ahead and let me know. I would love to have you on. Be right back.
thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. This segment is brought to you by Product Quick Start. Noah McNeely is our go-to genius, all right, for prototypes and manufacturing. Product Quick Start. If you've got an idea, he is the man. And speaking of geniuses, I have a genius on with me right now, Mr. Dave Fiegel with Clean Can Solutions. I remember being at a trade show with you, Dave, and you were introducing yourself as the genius.
No, that was a name the others gave me.
Oh, that's what everybody else was giving you. Well, you
They
stepped
were
right.
calling that when they looked at the product, they said, "This is genius." And
Well, you didn't argue with them. You stepped right into it. I was proud of you.
that's true. That's
So,
true.
the getting to a trade show and being able to talk to people. You had mentioned in the last segment that you had won Retailer's Choice Award, which was great because you can play on that. But the value of being able to talk to people face to face, one after the other, right?
Yes, yes. And the areas that are covered, the number of people from all around the country, all around the world, and you get quite a perspective. You get a little jaded because some of the people that you think would be the most interested with the close association to the industry are really not, because sometimes your product takes away their gross sales. For example, if you make paint, you're not interested in these people saving 20% of their paint by putting my product on their can.
That is true. That is true. And I've had that issue come up multiple times. Is they'll say, "Oh, this company should want it." It's like, no, if they're already doing similar type of products, they don't want you disrupting their supplies.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
And
And I
so,
asked one of the paint manufacturers. He was quite interested in the product, and he was asking me questions. I said, "Well, I've got to ask you because I've been told that the paint industry is really not interested in a product that saves paint because they manufacture and sell paint. So where do you stand on this?" And he says, "I want any product that helps my distributors." I don't know if that's true or not, but he didn't buy any of my product.
well, that's we go to ASD Market Week, and this year our booth space is right next to the tool section, and the big difference has been that they really promote us before the show. So we've got a VP of Buyer Relations who works for ASD Market Week, and Emerald is the company that sets it up. But she actually takes our product and goes out and pre-sells them for our inventors because we're the only innovative section there, which is
Uh-huh.
wonderful for our inventors because people already know what's old and what's been out there. They want to see what's new.
Uh-huh.
They want to be able to come in and say, okay, this looks great to add to our lineup. And we frequently find that somebody that wants to compete in the industry is really the best one to go to. So I would be looking at, who's manufacturing paintbrushes.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's kind of the bent that we've taken, along with going through the multimedia and that sort of thing to get some of the sales there. By the time you get through the uh, application for your patent and the tooling and everything necessary for injection molding, you got a ton of money tied up in things.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that it's all going to come back to you in 6 months. So it's a matter of getting to the marketing. And not everybody is going to look at something that's an obvious product like ours is. I've taken it to hardware store owners that looked at the thing and handled it in the paint department. He said, "What do you do with this thing?"
Oh,
I was blown away.
Yeah.
That's what you deal with. It's an educational process. And in fact, the guy that had the molding company told me, he says, "Do not underestimate stupid."
Oh, that's a good one. And yeah, I get it because, and we had a gentleman a couple of years ago that had a hammer with a different type of handle. It was supposed to be an ergonomically correct handle, but it would not fit into a tool belt. So nobody that was selling tools on a regular basis was going to carry it.
Right, right. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
when we look at market research, and that's one of the big things, he found that out like crazy when he went to the show with us. And it's like, it doesn't fit a tool belt. It doesn't fit a tool. He hadn't even thought about that. So when you're going to the shows, sometimes the market research that you find at a show is critical to making changes and improvements in the product.
Yeah, and I think that you've made the comment to me before that you can't be so in love with your product that you're resistant to any change that's necessary or any suggestions. You've got to listen to the people that use it and what they would like, and find a compromise for the best thing you can put out there for the money that you can do it with.
Absolutely. Good advice. And I want to thank you so much for being with me today. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.